Well, national reporting, I should probably explain, is one of the key requirements for conventions. So all the countries that are party to the CBD that we are here for in Hyderabad have to do reports to the convention every 4 years at the moment. The next round of national reports is due in 2014. And these national reports are the key information source to know about what countries are actually doing and implementing the convention, whether they are successful, whether they are on track in implementing the strategic plan for biodiversity and the Aichi biodiversity targets.
But when countries give you the data, I think we know that we have a good idea about what 1 ton of carbon dioxide is like, but is everything else that clearly defined?
There is lots of guidance to do proper national reporting. National reporting is not an easy exercise, particularly for developing countries, getting all the data and information together to produce a proper report. So this is not straightforward. And there's lots of guidance available now. The CBD Secretariat organizes regional workshops for countries to help them to better understand the reporting requirements, get the data and information together, work with stakeholders that have some of this information, and then really come up with reports that allow for getting a picture for the regions and a global picture of how the convention is actually implemented.
And what sort of trends have you been seeing over the past few years in terms of the data you've been receiving?
The reporting formats, the types of questions that are asked in reporting, they have changed, they are evolving, and they are now here in the CBD very much aimed at getting information about whether countries are on track in implementing the convention, implementing the Aichi biodiversity targets. And I think this really helps to make reporting much more informative, to give information, not only what countries are actually doing, but what they are achieving. So I think this is a very good trend, and also more and more countries do actually report. They deliver their national reports.
And how confident are you that what you receive is accurate, is genuine, no one's been massaging the figures or tinkering a bit with some of their numbers?
Yes, of course, this is a very valid question, and there's always an uncertainty to which extent the reported information is actually very valid or not. My own experience from looking at reports is that reports are actually often very frank and very open. They often say, well, we don't know enough. We have lots of gaps in knowledge about this specific and that specific issue. So I think overall reporting is an honest exercise. It reflects indeed the state of knowledge. So I'm pretty confident about this.
And a key criticism of reporting, environmental reporting, corporate sustainability reporting in the business sector has been that they often don't make sense to the boards. There's often a dense wad of paper and the boards look at it and think, well, this means absolutely nothing to me. Are you confident that the reports that countries are handing in, and indeed the criteria that the UN give to them, are you confident you're getting reports that can actually give you an idea about what you need to work on?
It is interesting to look at different conventions, how they do their reporting exercise. There are conventions that send very detailed questionnaires where parties then tick yes or no or we don't know, and then they can add information text. The CBD has very much walked away from that and presents questions on the status of implementation of the Aichi biodiversity targets of the convention. And I think this is a very good way to get good information that is useful for knowing what is the state of biodiversity, where are we on track, on the way to the achievement of the Aichi targets. So I think the CBD is doing a good job there.
And how hard is it to measure or compare different countries? Because I suppose a country like India has a far richer biodiversity than perhaps the UK, where I'm from.
Absolutely. Countries, parties to conventions, they are not keen to be compared. So we should not see reporting as an exercise that then leads to a ranking of countries. That is not the purpose of reporting. And I think this is really important to understand. Reporting should also be not only an exercise. There is an officer in the Ministry of Environment who fills out a questionnaire. Reporting is a whole process, and it should involve stakeholders. It should bring stakeholders together. It should help to mobilize national processes in support of implementation. And I think when we see this aspect of national reporting, then we are on a much better track.
So I guess what you're saying is, in as much as it's important that you get the data, it's also important that countries learn about what's happening to their own land when they're going through the paperwork.
I think probably the most important aspect of national reporting is that it is not an exercise in itself. It's not there for countries to fill in a questionnaire every X years and send it to the Secretariat of a convention. Reporting should be linked to implementation, should be an output of implementation. So if there is proper implementation ongoing, then reporting should be an easy exercise and should really come out of that and reflect on implementation.
Okay, and a final point, where is this reporting revolution taking us? Because we know more and more businesses are getting involved. Lots of countries are making it mandatory for businesses to get involved. Where do you see the whole sort of genre, the whole idea of reporting in the next decade or so?
It is really encouraging to see that business are more and more understanding that reporting on their environmental performance is actually something that helps them to achieve their own environmental targets, to improve their environmental performance. Again, this link to implementation of environmental targets. And this is where reporting goes. This is where reporting becomes more important. And this business reporting, the corporate reporting, is a good example of that. So I see the whole reporting moving probably into the right direction.